Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. All right, guys. It is Tuesday. Having a little bit of issues with my machine here again. So bear with me for a second. Let's see if I can fix this again. Make this one my main display. Okay. So far it's okay. Now let's try opening NinjaTrader up again. It's like, it doesn't like it when the primary display is changed. Jigsaw handles it, but NinjaTrader does not. Okay. That is working. Well, that is working. Let's give it a little bit of time. Auto rollovers, yes. Yes. Keller says, yes, Seth, it's been a while. I was reading a comment on the Reddit UFO page the other day, and I noticed it was written by you. I started laughing like, hey, I know that guy, Small World. I do remember I left like one comment. I don't comment there very often. The people there are crazy. Dude. That subreddit is really crazy sometimes, right? I think it was like somebody was complaining about how all of the footage was shaky. And I was like, well, dude, the guy is like zoomed in 12x. You can't hold the phone still enough with a hand. You need a tripod. That was the comment, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Because I think that's the only comment that I've left in the UFO subreddit. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, let's do the charts first. Oh, what did I do here? Huh. Oh, wait, did I still have that up? Wait, I got rid of that. Huh. Okay, we're gonna look at a couple of things. What? Okay, you got a couple of weird things going on. You see what's going on here on my cumulative delta for the S&P 500? Like, what? Okay, whatever. Where's my volume profile? All right, volume profile. Oh, wow. Okay, so Treasury's up big overnight. What's with that? I did not, you know what? I don't think I read my News Squawk stuff. I don't have to do that. I forgot. I don't know why. It was just like a weird wake up this morning. You know what? Sometimes like I wake up and like my wife's not there because she fell asleep downstairs with the kids, or like it just kind of screws my routine up sometimes, because then I'm thinking about that and trying to figure out what happened with that. And then I don't like read my news. Okay, anyways, but we are higher in the Treasury. That's good. I really feel like that some of this action down in here, it's like I don't know if it really makes sense. You know what the thing is, I for this next Federal Reserve meeting, this is like the first time that I feel like I have like a vested interest in what they do, and not because I have a position in TLT, because I mean I plan on holding that for a while. One Federal Reserve meeting, probably not a big deal, right? But like, I'm looking for a job, and the job market is hurting, man. It is hurting. If they do not reduce rates, we will go into a recession. It's very, very clear to me at this time. And I'm hearing, down there, we were hearing rumbles like, maybe they won't do that. And I'm like, no, you have to do that. Like, come on. You're killing me here. You've been easy all this time, and now you get hawkish? It's Trump. It's because of Trump, isn't it? Is it? Yeah, I get you got the bad blood, Powell, but you got to do the right thing, man. You got to do the right. Anyways, that's like what's going through my head, even though I know that it's kind of ridiculous to think that. Okay. Anyways, the charts. S&P 500, taking a hit. So there was a piece of news that they didn't like, huh? Oil doing a little bit better today. Gold and silver on the rise. Copper still down there, so it's not a China news thing. Japanese yen is going okay, and the dollar is down a little bit. Bitcoin still on the up and up, man. I tell you what, man, it's crazy how it's just like all of a sudden, all of the pumps turn on. This is like MSTR is buying again, and Andrew Tate says that he's gonna buy it. Like, it really bothers me, guys. It really bothers me that conservatives are all in on the Bitcoin thing, because I don't think that there's a single conservative thing about Bitcoin. There's maybe libertarian things about Bitcoin, but I don't think it's conservative at all. It's upending and destroying financial systems that we've had in place for well over 100 years now that work really, really well, and discarding it for chaos. It's a stupid idea, and it's being upheld by fraud, and by pumping it, you're allowing fraudsters to take advantage of the voting public. I don't like it. Anyways, let's try and figure out what happened. News clock. For some reason, the News Squawk blog does not work on desktop. If I pull out my phone and I pull it up on my phone, it works. Let's see here. Equities are entirely in the red with sentiment hit following remarks by Russia's Kremlin, which said Russia reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in the event of aggression. Is that really why we're up? You gotta be kidding me. Dollar is firmer versus most peers, but weaker against the JPY. Bonds have soared to session highs following the comments. Crude is on the back foot. Blah, 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 blah. So this is funny because when I woke up this morning and I was browsing around a little bit in the shower, and like one of the first things that I saw was advice animals on Reddit, and they were talking about something that some guy said on Russian TV. Like the guys on Russian TV are constantly joking about how they have Donald Trump in their back pocket or something like that. And the guys on Advice Animal always take it at face value. As like, you know that these guys, their primary intention is to sow division, confusion, and discord, right? Like that's what Russian propaganda is all about. And you're falling for it hook, line, and sinker. You need to take what the Russia says like a lot less seriously, because they're just there to mess with you. So it's funny to me that here I didn't see anything about that on Reddit, but that the markets had a flight to safety bid because of comments that the Kremlin made about nuclear weapons. You know, like I thought that everybody kind of realized at this point that Russia just that's like what Russia does, is they say stuff, oh, we have nuclear weapons, guys, and then everybody freaks out and then nothing happens. Like, it's Reddit, bro. They don't care. It's a giant hug box of leftist anxiety and speculation. Literally anything that stands a chance of confirming their wildest fears, even if it's straight up magic. Yeah, it is. Well, and it is like the way that the internet works on these issues is weird. So going back to the thing that Keller was bringing up about UFOs and stuff. So one of the things that I think is funny about UFOs is there's like this whole mythology behind it. And kind of what happens is like one person will say stuff, and people will take it seriously, and then other people will kind of like add to it, right? So one of the things that happened was there was a guy back in the 50s that claimed to be visited by aliens that they often call the Nordic aliens or the Pleiadians, that they describe like aliens that look like us but are like extremely good looking, and the description to me kind of sounds like they're describing Aryans or something like that, right? But the thing that I think is funny about that, well, and then there was another guy that was like, oh, there's a bunch of different aliens, and here's all the different types, and he listed them all out. And so then people on the internet kind of jump on that, and they will make up their own things. So I saw the reason I was thinking about it was because I saw a girl on TikTok, and she said, oh, I was abducted by aliens, but it was the bad aliens, it was the Greys. And then later I was visited by the Nordic aliens, and they inducted me into their intergalactic society or something like that. I'm like, you're a stupid 20-year-old kid. That didn't happen. I don't believe you, right? But it's that they're Pleiadians. Okay, so why is it that they're Pleiadians? If you don't do astronomy, the Pleiades is basically the coolest thing that you can look at in the sky. When you kind of put things in perspective, like, because the way that most people learn astronomy is they just learn like everything, right? It's just like, here's every constellation and you're just seeing it and things like that. But when you kind of put context into it, it's like, okay, first of all, here's what you're gonna see in the morning and in the night at different times of year. So that really puts things in perspective. And then it is, what are the coolest things? What are the coolest things to look at in the sky? The Pleiades is the coolest thing that you can look at in the sky, in my opinion. It is a star cluster that you can see with the naked eye. So and you can see it right now. You just like just before you go to bed, go and look out to the east, and you will see it coming up over that, like directly east, and it will just kind of be like this blue hazy thing in the sky. You can see it with the naked eye. It's the Pleiades. It's the coolest thing that you can look at in the sky. It's very beautiful. So of course, the Nordic aliens come from the most beautiful stellar object that we can see, right? You don't think that that's just like a little bit too coincidental? Somebody made it up. It blows my mind that nearly all the people on that sub. Is that really? I've never seen that, actually. So I read saw this thing the other day that said that in some instances, 30% of people on the internet are robots. It depends on the context, but there are situations where it's like 30% of the people that your comments that you're seeing are actually astroturfing. And I kind of wonder, dead internet theory. Like, that one wasn't it. That was like a, well, I don't know. I don't know where they came up with that, but I digress. When I go to subreddits like a UFO subreddit, my theory is that 70% of the people that are posting there as a joke. Like I really think that a lot of the people that are there are just there to like screw with people. Right? So they'll go and they'll post something, it's like, oh, here's this old UFO video. Let's go and dig it up and post it to the subreddit again. And then all of a sudden the subreddit's going crazy about this video that you posted that was complete, not, and then they're sitting there laughing about it. Like, I really think that a lot of it is people joking around, right? I honestly believe that. I feel like I get a ton of bot comments. Yeah. And so I wouldn't even necessarily just say like bot comments. Like when I think bot, I think, oh, it's something that's like autonomously going through the internet and commenting on things. No, I mean like there's like a person driving it, but the person is maybe using GPTs and everything to build the responses. Because I get in arguments with people on Reddit all the time where the things that the people say, and this only happens to me in the political subreddits, the things that the people say to me make no sense. It's like, you did not read what I wrote to you, because what you're saying is nonsense. And here's the thing that I've noticed. Okay, so when it was going up into the election, I was seeing this astroturfing on all of the local subreddits, right? Like Reddit was constantly pushing things to the front page to me that's like, oh, you might be interested in this. It's like, here's the subreddit for Austin. Here's the subreddit for Texas. Here's, you know, like cities and states and stuff that I don't live in. It's like, why is it pushing them to me? Well, it's because those subreddits were seeing increased activity because Kamala Harris supporters, Kamala Harris had a subreddit that was run by their campaign that where they were basically telling people what to say and like places to go and everything. And a part of their strategy was go to local subreddits and astroturf, right? And I think that what happened was after the election died, those people, they stopped posting in the subreddits, but they didn't go away. And I think that they're still on advice animals because I still see people post stuff on advice animals that's just absolutely batty. That's kind of the giveaway. It's like they don't even respond to what you were actually saying. Instead, it has to be some kind of narrative to, yeah, exactly. It's like I will get into some sort of nuanced, specific, logical problem with it. See, that's the thing with me is that when I look at a problem, I usually look at it like first with my logical processing parts of my brain. Okay, I naturally default to system 2. Like if you know thinking fast and slow, you got system 1 and system 2. System 2 is slower, but it's more logical. System 1 is faster, it's intuitive, right? So most people are just on intuition all the time, but I have a tendency to go to the logical processing first, and I will just process everything. I can do the intuitive processing, but I kind of have to think about that intentionally, right? And so I will go through the logical processing, and I will find some little kind of glitch in there, so some piece of logic about what they're saying that doesn't make sense and kind of undermines the whole thing. But that's not what they're thinking about with, you know, they just have this narrative they want to push. So when they respond to you, the GPT responses, or even if it's a person that's writing the responses out, they're not spending enough time reading what I'm saying and thinking about it to actually give a real response. They're just pushing that narrative. It's like it goes back to that narrative that they have. And so like what they say ends up not making sense. It's like, okay, I just proved something here, you know, a logical issue with your theory or whatever, and you're just restating your theory and then claiming that you debunked me or something. No, you didn't respond to anything that I said whatsoever. And I've gotten that constantly over the past year or 2 years. Way more than normal. But it kind of gets interesting in relation to the alien subreddits, because you've got one group of people that are just there to mess with people. And then you've got another group of people that are just really gullible and are totally believe everything. Maybe there's another group of people that are crazy, right? And then there's another group of people that, you know, kind of the group that I would put myself into, that, well, We're having hearings about it in Congress. We're having pretty reputable people saying that there's something going on. And I would like to get to the bottom of what that is, because we do have evidence from like military sensors and things like that of objects pulling 1,000 Gs. What is that? What is that? There's something going on. I'm at this point, some of the things that those whistleblowers and stuff have said has led me to the conclusion that they are guessing. Like, I think that Elizondo... So here's the thing that tipped me off on Elizondo. Is that he thinks that Roswell was a real alien crash and that they pulled aliens out from it. It's nonsense. So that's the thing that has me thinking, this is a guy that wants to believe that there's aliens, and he's certainly found something that's worth investigating, but he doesn't actually know. He is moving into speculation and stuff. I believe that Santa is Uzi. Yeah, I think the UAP situation is a fun thought experiment, kind of like how, I talk about the whole science-faith dynamic. I wonder what would actually... Yeah, and that's where I come back to, like, okay, so there's been people posting on the internet for years and years and years, claiming to be, like, government insiders, and a lot of the things that those people say have things in them that I'm like, that's bullshit. There's no way. And one of the things that is, and this is kind of like more my intuition, is the fact that they think that the Nordic aliens come from the Pleiades. Okay, so what you've done is you've taken the most beautiful object in the sky and you've created an alien that's equally beautiful to go with it. It was clearly made up. I'm kind of curious what the treasuries do here, because I kind of feel like the reason that we're up is kind of, a little silly. But they're not like... It kind of looks like there was the move up and everybody in the treasuries are just kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, they weren't planning on doing anything today anyways, so... I don't know what eventually happens. Oh, by the way, it reminds me that you got a couple of problems here to fix. Let's reload all historical data on my ES chart here first, so that issue with the cumulative delta goes away. Come on. There we go. Okay, so that fixes that one. So let me show you something. So here's my inventory cost basis. I can come into indicators, and there should be now inventory cost basis companion. And what this indicator does is it looks at the data series in the inventory cost basis and just creates new data series so that they can be in a separate plot. So if I click OK there you go. So now we can see how much inventory they have on. So the sellers obviously have a lot of inventory on because of all of the upside moves. I think that, like, number of contracts would be kind of like, I'm wondering if there's like a certain number of contracts that you can get over at which they do stuff or something. So we can keep an eye on that. But that's one of the features I did. And I also fixed the, what was it? I fixed my my cumulative delta. Do I still have that one? No, this is the inventory cost basis that I created. I have a cumulative delta now that caches. but the next step will be to make it like chart bars. So I don't know. Let's see here. So I don't know how I want to prioritize things. I got to make chart bars for the cumulative delta. I need to make the inventory cost basis cash. And those are the two major ones. What else did I have on? There is a bug in the resting orders one as well that we gotta take a look at. And then we can get to the better zigzag. I don't know. I feel like I got a lot done yesterday. Part of it was I'm gonna close this chart, by the way. Part of it was that there was like way more like last week and the week before especially was like I got in ready to like put my resumes out, you know, and everything, and I just wasn't finding very many. And I think yesterday I put out 12, and I found even more this morning. So like that's good, and I think that kind of I felt good about that. And so then I kept going, and I fixed a bunch of things. So we're kind of getting close to getting all of the indicators to the place where I've always wanted them to be. So that's exciting. Oh, good morning, belligerent. What would actually convince me? Yeah, I don't know. You know, the thing that everybody complains about with that is they're like, the people in the meeting are saying that the United States has aliens and that they have crashed UFO stuff and everything. But I don't believe it because I haven't seen any aliens or anything like that, right? But the thing is that the people in those hearings aren't actually saying that, because none of them are saying, I've seen it. No, they're all saying, I know somebody in the military that's seen it, but they aren't coming forward. Russia says Ukraine attacked with U.S.-made missiles and signals it's ready for a nuclear response per CNBC. Is that just coming over the wire just now? Or is that from the earlier headline that moved us up overnight? 43 minutes ago? Okay, so that's probably just... So the whole thing was that overnight, Russia came out and said something about nuclear weapons. And that's why the market, why we had a flight to safety panic. Do you really think that today we will see a tactical nuclear weapon used? How do you think if let's just say, for the sake of argument, that they do? It'd be amazing to see, to be honest. How do you think that they would react? I think Russia believes that they can use a tactical nuclear weapon one time and the West will just kind of sit and wave their finger at them. That's what I think Russia thinks. Am I wrong? But are they wrong? I don't think Russia will. I don't think Russia will do it either. I think Russia thinks that maybe it's on the table and maybe they want to, but I think that it's one of those things that's like, okay, once you start to go down the path of, okay, guys, let's use it, and then everybody starts talking about it and they talk you out of it, sort of a thing, right? I think it's one of those. This has happened with Donald Trump a lot. Like in all seriousness, listen, I'm a conservative guy. I voted for him. He's got his issues too, right? And there was plenty of times where Trump would say something kind of a little bit crazy and he wanted to do something a little bit, and his cabinet talked him out of it, right? No, they wouldn't drop it on Kiev. They would just drop a tactical nuke on some area where there isn't really anything all that important going on. So when I say a tactical nuke, like a tactical nuke is like it's a small nuke that you send into a battlefield, and then, you know, an hour after all of the radiation has settled, you move your troops through. Right, and they've done, like, the West have done drills with this sort of thing in the past and stuff, right? Oh, did YouTube okay, hold on. That's weird. It's so weird when YouTube filters out a comment, man. Right? Would you like to play a game? Oh, yeah. No, I don't think that's where I'm like, so the thing that's weirding me out is that the market is taking this particular headline so seriously. It's a little out of character for them to take this seriously. So here's the thing. Can I? Where is this? Here we go. Yes, perfect. I found this on Reddit the other day. I thought it was really interesting. So here is a map of where they have ATA CMS missiles and the areas that they would be able to strike as a result. Okay. And so you can see that basically it's like, well, they could strike anywhere in Ukraine and they could strike in like the Kursk region. Okay. So there's not anything all of that important. Like when this first came out and like the Russian telegrams were like flipping out apparently. But I think that was because they were all thinking, oh, I'm going to be attacked here in Moscow. No, it's just, they're just going to strike other military targets. So I guess it's a bad thing for Russia because that means that Ukraine can do like remote strikes of things. The sort of thing that Russia was doing to Ukraine anyways, frankly. So it is a tactical, let's not say an advantage, but a big tactical help for Ukraine. But it's not an existential threat to Russia. So for Russia to say, oh, if you use those missiles, we're going to use a tactical nuke is kind of a little ridiculous. Right? Once you put into perspective what happens with ATA CMS missiles. Okay, so now what's going on? Ukraine used them. They didn't, okay, so Russia, it wasn't the end of Russia or anything like that. So I haven't even heard anything about what did Ukraine actually strike with it, right? And now Ukraine's like, well, maybe we'll use that tactical nuke. I kind of am siding with Uzi, although I'm a little bit hesitant to do so. But like, I think that it would be a little silly for Russia to use a tactical nuclear weapon in that situation. And if they did, they're kind of like using like one of their biggest trump cards. And then after that, I don't think it's as scary. Unless you're going to escalate things again. Which then you're talking about like wiping out the world, right? So it seems, I mean, I guess I kind of understand like the market is kind of why the market's reacting to it, but I think that it's just going to fizzle out. Like, I don't think that they're going to use one. Well, and if they do use one, I don't think that it's the end of the world either. Like, probably what will happen again, if they use it, if they use a tactical nuke, it'll be like, okay, there will be an area that has been nuked and they move through, and then all of the world will be super super upset. And at that point, I think that world leaders probably start to take Russia a little bit. Like right now, I think that the West is helping Ukraine. Is like, okay, well, first of all, this is a threat to the world order if you can just come in and attack any country. But then if Russia gets embroiled in Ukraine and they're spending all of this money in Ukraine, that really hurts their country in the long run. And it has really hurt their country in the long run, right? But I don't think that the West is sitting over here being like, Russia is an existential threat to the world and we really need to do something about it. And yeah, they're not acting like that. Like, they never really gave Ukraine, in my opinion, they never really gave Ukraine the amount of assistance that would be like, this is an existential threat to the world. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they helped Ukraine, but not enough. They could have done more, and maybe Ukraine would have gotten these areas back. Who knows? So that's why I think that it would be a huge strategic mistake for them to use tactical nukes, right? Which is why I think that it's not likely to happen. But they're saying stuff, so let's just see what happens. Uzi says, because everything happens in 5 minutes, single serve, memory hold shit, something really big and devastating is probably the end. Yeah. Well, I think that the approach is, Russia says that they're going to do it, that would be bad for the market's flight to safety, and that's it. Like the market tends to do the most brain dead knee-jerk reaction to everything. So especially to things that it doesn't understand very well. So like the reaction to politics and elections and geopolitics is always kind of like a little bit dumb. Tons of nuance when they're reading a business report, but not. Okay, so the Biden administration is saying that Russia is signaling nuclear intentions and putting out irresponsible rhetoric. So that doesn't sound to me like the Biden administration thinks that they're actually going to do it, but that they are kind of like, posturing. Oh, here is an interesting thread. Larry Summers, my own judgment is that the Fed and markets are still underestimating the overheating risk. I ask myself, why is cutting rates a priority into that environment? Because if you don't, you'll have a recession. I feel like there's a point at which short-term employment matters more than short-term price stability. But I don't know where that point is, and I don't know what the Federal Reserve is going to do with it. Larry Summer thinks, oh, you don't, why are you so anxious to cut rates? I say, because there will be a recession, that's why. The U.S. indicates that it won't respond to the Russian nuclear doctrine move. And we did just see a pretty strong move down in the treasuries there. Can we sell it now? Oh, Lavrov says nuclear war won't happen. Yeah, but they're saying we can use a tactical nuclear weapon and it won't turn into a nuclear war, is what he's saying. We won't avoid a crisis just because the Fed lowers short-term interest rates if they've tried that many times without success. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, so lowering interest rates does... Okay, so if we're going to go into a recession because the interest rates are too high, then shouldn't reducing the interest rates back to a neutral level prevent that thing from happening? Right? Like there can be a situation where something has broken in the employment market. You know, like too many people have been laid off. They're not spending money anymore. That means that other companies aren't making any money, so they also have to lay people off, and it's just kind of like a labor market death spiral, and that's when you get like a recession. And that's how it happened in 2008. It happens very, very quickly, right? That's not the sort of situation that we're talking about. We're like the death spiral has not started. We're worried that if we don't bring the interest rates back, that a death spiral could start. What I'm warning is, I think that the market can only take like 3 months or so of this. Okay, but in the past, when you lower interest rates, like by the time that they're lowering interest rates, we already have a problem. And because the effects of monetary policy are lagged, you know, them lowering the rates doesn't prevent the thing from happening. Right? But I'm saying like the thing hasn't happened. I'm saying that the thing will happen in 6 months. So if the thing will happen in 6 months, then that means that if you start reducing interest rates now, you can prevent the thing from happening. And of course, maybe we have prevented the thing from happening in the past, but how would you know? Because then it didn't happen. Right? So my opinion is that the most recent numbers that we got about the labor market from the non-farms and looking at private employment versus government employment suggests that the Federal Reserve does need to reduce interest rates or we'll move into a recession. And the backside of that is if there is still risk of things overheating, then you may have to choose between whether you want a recession or you want another inflationary bump, let's call it. I don't know if that would be like hyperinflation, like all the crazy things. Yeah. Hyperinflation causes double the unemployment we have now as the middle class becomes poor and we get a depression. Well, you know, I could go back to this study these guys put out where they suggest that the inflation numbers are actually half of what they should be. That if you measured it using their measurements, that inflation is twice as much. And once you start to use those new inflation numbers, then you see the economy is in recession. But I don't think that so if we reduce interest rates, we avoid recession, but it causes another quote unquote inflationary wave. I don't think that it would be like a hyperinflation wave. And in fact, I am not so okay. So there's this whole thing that's like when you look at inflation in the 70s, right? It was like it went up and then it came back and then it went whoosh. It was like super, super bad. And everybody is like, we're right here right now, right? You've seen that chart before, right? And so there's this concern like, oh, there is a tendency for there to be like a second wave, and that wave can be like even bigger, right? That's the fear. That's not going to happen. And here's why I say that that's not going to happen. The reason that this rise happened back in the 70s was because LBJ basically said, I need interest rates to be low to fight the Vietnam War, and he bullied the Federal Reserve into ignoring the problem. And they printed money and all of these things. Okay. So the truth is that LBJ did he know that it was going to cause inflation? I would think that he would have to, but maybe he's that dumb. I don't know. But that wasn't what he cared about. What he cared about was winning the Vietnam War, or whatever it was that he was, the way that he looked at it, right? So that's not happening right now. So what I see right now is, could we see another inflationary wave? Maybe. But I think that if we do, it would be more like this. It won't be as big as the first wave. But that's just my outlook right now. There could be things and pieces of data that happen that then come and tell us actually like it's a bigger problem than that, right? But right now I'm sitting here going like, okay, like if we lower interest rates so that we can resolve the problems in the labor market and avoid recession, it's okay if we get a couple of 0.3 or 0.4 month-over-month CPI prints, right? That's the calculation I'm making when I say that. Because to be honest, going back to Larry Summers, like the risk is, a risk is always there, okay? But I'm not seeing anything in the data that suggests that like there's a real problem, right? So you could even go into reduce interest rates, you start to see things heat up a little bit, you back off. So I think that they can kind of, just play it by ear. Okay, let's see here. Biden official, the U.S. is not surprised by Russia nuclear announcement. Russia has been signaling nuclear intentions. U.S. indicates it won't respond to nuclear doctrine move. We warned, what is this? I moved on me here. We warned U.S. would respond over North Korean moves. Inflation is cumulative. Okay. But like no, I don't think that your sentence makes sense. Try again. We had inflation. Well, okay, so I really hate it, not to pick on UTLA trader, but I really hate it when people make like overarching statements like that. There were multiple factors involved in inflation. There was monetary policy, there was fiscal policy, and there was supply chain problems. And when you get into the fiscal and monetary policy, there was multiple components of that monetary and fiscal policy. So it's a little bit oversimplifying things to say it was only because of the supply chains, right? We would still have had inflation without the supply chains. It's just it wouldn't have been as much. And the data that I have seen, or there have been some studies trying to quantify these things. And so I'm not saying that those are like the final conclusive statement on it, but it's the best data that we have right now, suggests that each one of those components was about 1/3 of the inflation. Okay, so if there wasn't supply chain issues, we would maybe have had 1/3 to half as much inflation. Now, part of it is, though, that these things kind of all interacted with each other to create the situation that we had, right? Like, for instance, if we had supply chain problems, but we had not done as much fiscal policy, then I don't think that we would have gotten the inflation. But then we would have had a much harder economy. Right? It would have been a deeper, longer recession. So I guess in that respect, the supply chain disruption is kind of a component that's like, well, if you didn't have the supply chain disruption, then the fiscal and monetary policy support was definitely not needed, right? Then, so it's a little bit more complicated than that, right? Presumably, there's a way to, okay, like we are going to have a supply chain disruption and everything, but that I think that there is a certain amount of monetary and fiscal policy that is appropriate in that situation. I'm not sure that you can completely avoid the effects of there being a recession and there being some inflation, but you might be able to minimize them. I wonder if Joe Biden hadn't done his stimulus at the beginning of his term, how different things would be. I tell you one thing, if he hadn't have done the American Rescue Act at the beginning of his term, I think that the whole blaming Democrats for inflation would have been a lot less strong, right? If they hadn't have done anything, then you would have a really good argument for it was only because of the monetary and fiscal stimulus passed under the Republicans. And then you'd be able to argue, well, it's not like the Democrats were opposed to that stuff. Yeah, but they weren't in charge. And I don't think voters would have punished them as hard. But maybe the inflation wouldn't have been nearly as big of a problem. Maybe it would have been kind of a back problem where we're kind of like complaining about it and everything, but not necessarily like people can't live, you know? So Octavius never said something after the inflation is cumulative, but like, I think that you're saying that like, okay, you know, if we have 0.4% inflation today, and then we have 0.4 inflation next month, the result of that inflation is a lot more than 0.4, right? Because it's inflation on top of that previous inflation, right? Okay, but that doesn't resolve the issue of how much risk is there really of there being more inflation. Like 3 months ago, I was like, you gotta be careful, right? And you know what? They delayed it. But what happened? At the same time, we kind of realized that some of the data that we've been getting is deceptive. Like there's no other way to put it. I'm not saying that it's like intentionally or there's a conspiracy or anything. I'm just saying that the labor market is a lot weaker, and that the private economy is a lot weaker than investors realized 3 months ago, and that's what we saw in that last non-farms. So right now, employment is a bigger issue than inflation. It is, and it's like, okay, we're just talking about December, right? We're like right now, I'm just talking about December. Okay, you can reduce rates in December and see how things go at the next meeting. I'm gonna bet that by the next meeting that you're still not gonna really see a whole lot of problems. And I don't think that if you were going to see any kind of inflation, I don't think that you would really have a problem until March. And then March comes along, and guess what? You can just like stop reducing interest rates, and then it'll probably equalize again. Right? Like people thought, here's interest rates, it's down super low, and then we went, right? And now we did a half, and now we're going to do a quarter, right? And people thought that the trajectory of this would just kind of be like this, right? And I'm saying, actually, maybe it can be like this. You reduce interest rates a little bit. There's some inflation. You let the inflation cool off. Reduce interest rates again. How many years have Japan been doing? Oh man, it's been my whole life. 40 years. 40 years. Well, treasuries are still on the downside. I don't know how good of a trade the downside here is or not. I mean, they could come back all the way, like retrace the whole thing, right? But I'm still kind of like, I feel like that we should have been at 110 even this whole time anyways. So I don't know. Oh, here's the Wall Street. I was seeing stuff about this story last night. This is the first time I've seen it from a major outlet. Wall Street Journal says that a woman, through her lawyer, claims that when she was 17 years old, that she had sex with Meghan. I don't doubt it, but at the same time, I don't know if that's enough to prove it. Yeah. Oh, it's paywalled, so I can't even read it anyways. You know, I haven't seen too much delta on this. It looks like that this move down was driven largely by market makers, so. Dude, what is with this headline that Trump media in reported talks to buy crypto trading platform BAKKT backed? I don't know how you say that one. Sending shares soaring. Did that one come back after the craziness that was yesterday? Because I'm just sitting here like, why would they have any reason to buy a crypto exchange? That makes zero strategic sense to me. Let's see. Oh no, I thought that their stock had gone crazy. What is it? What's the ticker symbol? Is it not BKKT? Oh, okay. I see where you're going. I was looking at it from like where it was in 2022 and being like, nothing happened. But then when you zoom in, you can see that they skyrocketed, but it's only like a certain amount back. I think that one is like so weird. Still look like it's going down. I think that the trade probably is a sell. I mean, if you probably wanted to do it like way back here, but I think that it probably is a sell. So this is like a really bad spot to take it because this is the cost basis long. So this is like if I had caught any of that short, I might be taking it off here. From Unusual Wells, over a third of homeowners report feeling stuck in their house and unable to move for said reason. This rises to nearly 50% for homeowners under 50, who are mostly made up of Gen Z and millennials per fortune. Like if you were in a house, you pretty much like you gotta stick with it now. Let's reset that. Want to see? I would expect there to be some heavier absorption here. Yeah. So yeah, look at this. Like the rate in the 10-year, 3 point. Well, we're headed to 3.4 again. Like it just seems so high to me. We just reduced. We had a cut that was a 50 basis point cut and a 25 basis point cut, and now rates are 3.4. Okay. Okay, so my well, I wouldn't say that was intuition. That was like a pretty straight. It's at our line. We don't want to take a trade at our line, and that proved to be keep us out of a bad trade, right? Like what's happening there is there's all of these shorts that there's a lot of short inventory out there, and they're going to take that opportunity to take some of it out. Do you have a video showing how to set up your trading platform? What do you mean by set up? Because I do have a video showing you like everything that's in my trading platform, like the key settings and all of that. That is on there. That's probably what you're talking about. People's screen names keep changing and it's weird. There has been a few of you guys that have changed, yes. Hey, Pauls says the water. Wait, it does? Oh, it hits the chat and then it changes a second later? Well, because all I see is a Paul way back there. When he was talking about a vacuum bomb. He's gonna send me a picture. Oh, mine doesn't show it that way, Uzi. That's interesting. Wait, does it show it to me in the browser? No, I don't see it that way. That's interesting. Weird. Did you just change your name, Paul? We can. It's weird that Uzi would see it and I not, but okay. No, A-Paul says nope, nope, nope. I am A-Paul. Okay, so Uzi, he just said something there. I see it as A-Paul. Do you see it as the water? Yes, I see his name, A-Paul, and then switch to the water. Okay, try this. Try refreshing the page. That bounce wasn't very long. I'm kind of suspecting that if they are able to get through this a little bit later, that we will get another little sweep down. Put these... So after the refresh, it's normal. That's so weird. But do I still flow? Oh, by the way, I just remembered I have to take the kids to school here in 20 minutes. Now it says I probably should have worn pants instead of shorts because it's cold outside. This bounce off of our cost basis line doesn't look very convincing. I'm curious what you think of that, Octavius, because you've taken a lot of trades at that line. Doesn't it seem like usually when it bounces off that line that it's a harder bounce? This is a freaking hilarious meme right here. It's from Spider-Man. Please tell me the truth. How come Bitcoin is almost 100,000 and you're still broke? Then he says, I am an ETH holder. And then she starts crying. Oh, man. Wow, Grush provided 11 hours of classified testimony. Okay. Did you guys see this one yesterday? Department of Justice antitrust officials have decided to ask a judge to force Google to sell off its Chrome browser. Totally support that. Totally support that one. How do you break Google up? Because like you're gonna break the ad business off from the YouTube, and some of that stuff wouldn't work. But Chrome, you know, it can be its own thing. They shouldn't have Chrome. I totally agree with that. Oh man, in r/millennials, you can only bring one back. Borders, Toys R Us, Blockbuster, Radio Shack, Sears, Hollywood, Circuit City, Payless, Big K. Well, I mean, Sears technically kind of still exists. Payless does too. I mean, there's still Radio Shacks, actually. But I kind of feel like that the answer has to be Toys R Us, or you're wrong. Am I wrong? Is that like how they went after Microsoft for embedding Internet Explorer into Windows? Yeah, like it totally is. Except for that with Microsoft was like what Microsoft did with Internet Explorer was like way worse, to be honest. Because it wasn't just that. It was like they were putting features into Internet Explorer that like only Internet Explorer could do and nothing else, and then convincing websites to put them in, and they're just create all sorts of chaos, man. but I still do kind of feel like that. What is Google going to do with its own web browser, except for abuse it, right? Like most the web browsers were always like an independent nonprofit foundation sort of thing. Like that's how Firefox got started, right? What incentive does Google have to create a web browser other than to abuse it? And they haven't done nearly as bad of things as Microsoft did, but they still do things. Okay, so that is my wife getting into the car. Turn that off. That's funny. There we go. Recall in Windows is troublesome. You can turn it off. That one really bothers me. Like, I really don't see the advantage that you're getting from it for what it's everything that you have to put up with, right? That really reeks to me of like, well, we got to do something AI, and they just shoved it through even though it made no sense or what harm it might do. Kind of seems to me. Oh, okay, I don't have to take kids to school anymore. We're good. And they break 29? It kind of seems like that they're not interested enough in doing that. They're really trying to push rather forcefully for Windows 11, but there's a crap ton of applications and programs that don't or won't work at all on Windows 11. What? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but okay. It really is like, I don't remember having these problems in the past where it's like I have to customize my operating system or do these things for like stuff to like even basic things to work. And I am seeing in the Linux space, is undergoing a revolution of sorts. Like the whole Wayland, like they're ditching X11, they're using Wayland now, and people are starting to make these new kinds of desktop environments that are really customizable and powerful. I think one of the problems that they might have is that things are so customizable that you don't have something that's actually coherent. So probably eventually you're going to get to the same place that NeoVim is, where like people package a bunch of different things together and turn it into a coherent workflow, right? But would Jigsaw run on Linux? I've never tried. I bet you could probably get it to work on Wine though. But it's on .NET, so that's there are some things about that could be challenging. But I still think it's possible. I just hope that whatever is in Windows 12 fixes some of the cut. You know, like this, like my clock down here. That's one of the things that bothers me, is that I want to have a big clock. It's kind of hard to get it. There's I'm using an application for it, but it's not perfect. Yada yada yada. I want my notifications to show up over here, and you can't do that. And, it's things like that. Let's look. Rumors. Everything we know about the next Windows OS. This is from Techopedia. Microsoft is deep into Windows 12 development, with the next version of the most popular desktop OS in the world expected in 2025. We have one more revision of Windows 11 to come first, Windows 11 2024 H2, which we've already had since then, haven't we? Which will bring HDR, background support, Wi-Fi 7, and artificial intelligence features. But once that arrives before the end of 2024, Windows 12 is the next operating system to keep your eyes on. By the way, we still haven't been able to reach that like 29. I'll reset it there so you can see the top of it. Okay. Features. Microsoft has never been shy about its intention to bring artificial intelligence capabilities to its Windows OS, so we don't expect this to change in Windows 12, building on the foundation laid by Windows 11 23 H2 update, which introduced Microsoft Copilot to Windows, and getting deeper with the upcoming 2024 H2. Windows is likely to have been built with AI right at the center. Copilot has already demonstrated its ability to provide a more personalized and efficient experience, with future updates could further enhance its ability to control and interact with the PC. However, it hasn't been a smooth run, with Microsoft's idea to automatically screenshot users' machines getting instant pullback. One potential area of improvement is the expansion of AI-powered search capabilities similar to those seen in Windows 11 taskbar, where users can easily search the icon to look up content across Microsoft 365. That was a pretty forceful push down there. I don't know if there was another headline, but what will it look like? Windows Central reporter Zach Roden was shown a UI design prototype at a Microsoft event, which showed floating toolbars at the top of Windows, including a weather icon, a search bar, and mobile-like system items in the top right. This was 2 years ago and was an accidental flash of what might be a prototype, but it may be an early glance at Microsoft plans. Not really too much information in there. know if I should be concerned by that little down move or not. I am a little bit worried about. I'm kind of seeing a pattern that, like, hey, we've come down to the bottom here and it's flatlined, and sometimes that creates reversals. Like, you have a breach of the low and then reversal. My stops didn't get hit though. That's curious. I would have been a little mad if they had been though, so let's cancel them. Trump Ashmani sentencing in New York adjourned. That's luck. You're just getting that from Zero Hedge on Twitter, huh? I'm not seeing anything about that one come up on my feed yet, but Zero Hedge just tweeting it. Everybody would just be retweeting them, right? So it was like that little hitch, and now it's flat again. So that says to me that was market maker shenanigans. But I find it curious that, like, we came down from that thing, like the Biden administration's comments on it and everything else like that, and now we're not doing anything. Oh, so why is my no, it's fine. So this companion indicator that I've created, there's weird stuff about it. I'm kind of wondering if I can actually give it to you guys, because basically it wants to go in and look at the other indicator and pull the value from the other indicator. And sometime, like, it depends on what's going on, like with multi-threading and everything. Sometimes it looks and it's not there. And for some reason, the companion hasn't updated for 30 minutes. Look at the delta for the pit session, 23K to 0. Well, the drop was about I'm gonna say 25K. Buy some TLT so the strip will dump. It's just weird that wasn't that they haven't gone for more. I don't know. I'm still kind of seeing a market that, like, it doesn't seem like that they actually want to do anything with it. Like, okay, so, well, there was a little bit of a move, huh? I guess based on my earlier thing that was where I was supposed to get short, right? I can try after she goes. Okay. Let's see. I'm a little bit weary about it because it already is kind of pushing back. Oh, Ukraine is saying something, that's why. No, I don't have to do that anymore. My mommy's gonna do it. Russia says it shot down 5 of their missiles. Okay. Watch now that I'm short, they're gonna say something super scary, and it's just gonna shoot out of here. I'm gonna do them in twos. If ES takes the bottom, there will likely be some big bond buyers. Looks, I'm not too concerned about the S&P 500 selling at the moment. Flows over there have been in balance of sells, so. Oh yeah, remember that we've got NVIDIA earnings this week, because that's tomorrow, right? Wednesday? What is this? NVIDIA options primed for 300 billion price swing after earnings. Wow. That is crazy. So if I'm like, I'm in a position and a liquidity hole starts to appear just past where my trade was, like, that's usually a good sign, right? But it's not strong enough. There's a little bit of a hole at 26.5, but it doesn't look like it's strong enough to protect me. Are you 5 contracts short on ZN? Dang, I missed a lot these months. Oh, you know what, Andre, I've kind of been messing around with multiple contracts in ZN for, I want to say 2 years now, actually. So, and I've done really well with them as well. I think that there's big risk to what I'm doing, but it generally works pretty well. This is where we're looking at some of my stats, and I have like a 60% win rate, even though my MFE is like twice my MAE. My MFE is not as good, or is a lot better than my actual profits. So there's some issues there in where I'm deciding to take them off. But it looks like that the signals and my feeling and read of the markets on that has gotten pretty good. And when you combine that with taking on risk from multiple contracts, you know, it works pretty well. So, but these are just sim trades. It's not live. Would need a much larger account to be doing that. CN is a good product. It's not punishing, so you have time to reach. So playing around when you know what you're doing, but yeah. Well, like if you want to like scalp a range, it lends itself really well to that. Sometimes it gets too tight and it's really frustrating, but right now we seem to be okay. Okay, so see now the low spot and the liquidity is right at my price, and I don't like that. Do you suggest to trade the last week? No, absolutely not. The week between Christmas and New Year's is the worst trading all year, almost always. Now, there was this one time, I think it was 2018, when like the market had a full-on meltdown because there was a Fed meeting just before Christmas, and they expected the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, and they didn't. And then it was like during that whole period, full meltdown, and there was some good trading. And I think that there are some people out there that kind of got like, you know, they read that and put that into their models and think that it's okay trading during that time. But generally speaking, some of the worst trading all year happens that week between, you know. Now the first week of January tends to be better. But the markets don't really get back to normal until after the first non-farms. But like, especially those first few days, there's a lot of people that they come out with like their beginning of the year trades and whatnot, and you get really good trends at the beginning of the year. From January to March, maybe mid-April, tends to be the best trading for me. So right now, yeah, next week only Monday and Tuesday will be okay. Yeah, well, this week is not particularly great for macroeconomic news, is it? We had a pretty busy week last week and the week before. So we get some FOMC speakers. We do get some flash manufacturing PMIs and consumer sentiment on Friday. Next week, we have GDP and PCE. Oh, now that's weird. Chicago PMI is still on Friday. Okay. Well, next week is going to be a weird week. Next week was probably going to be one of those weeks where like there's going to be some place where there's a really good trade and you kind of miss it because you don't expect anything to happen, right? You scratch to taking along. I'm gonna kind of hold this because I'm not expecting them to shoot out here, but I might start taking. I might start swinging more contracts. Like, how about this? If I get filled on these, I take 3 off, so that in case it comes back up there, I can maybe add more up higher. I have to say, though, I'm not too hopeful on it, like, really pushing down and forming a trend or anything now. My intention here was kind of more to scalp the range. You'll rate to sell 31. Yeah, well, you like that VWAP, man. The thing is, I don't think I've ever seen this before. By the way, you see where I'm talking about the companion indicator, it's not updating. It has to say that like it's on the last bar and then it will do stuff. So that's not happening, I guess. I need to take a look at that. But anyways, the cost basis is right here. We came down to the cost basis and have just kind of been riding the cost basis. I don't think I've ever seen that before. There's a tendency to bounce off the cost basis like that. There's sometimes where you'll sweep through it, but just come to it and ride it. I don't think I've seen that before. That's an unusual situation, I think. There is I am noticing there's an iceberg now that we've bounced up there. Iceberg, you know, maybe they're seeing this liquidity hole at 28 take hold again. Okay. That was making me a little bit nervous, but you know what? I took 3 contracts off, so now there's a lot less risk on, right? Like, I wanted to get my... I would rather have it be above 29, because 29 has kind of been the ceiling on all of this, you know? Because I'd like to be able to put, like, a stop at 29.5 or 30. That would make the most sense. But... I don't know. Maybe they're just going to like turn down and I'll have regretted taking 3 contracts off. All right. But this is how these ones have been going. And I'm only making, well, at first I was doing bigger ones and I was catching swings that were like worth $1,000. But now they tend to be a few $100 and it's okay. So I don't know. Recenter there a little bit. By the way, did it move? Did it kind of, did my average move here? $27. Oh wait, which way is this? Okay, yeah, it was 27. 26. Maxwell Silver, that used to watch you several years ago up until I lost my account. What advice would you have for me getting back into the market where I haven't been watching? So first of all, your name sounds familiar. Maybe not Maxwell Silver, but Maxwell sounds familiar. It kind of depends on when you're trading. So the post-COVID market has been an unusual market, and I really don't feel like that things really got back to their normal way of things until 2024 in the treasuries. So if you remember the time period from like 2016 to 2020, then you're probably okay. But if you're only familiar with the 2020 to 2020 or 2023 market, then, you know, I would, spend a little bit of time trying to see how the treasury market is different with lots of liquidity. That's the big thing is when there's so much liquidity, it kind of does some things that a lot of traders find frustrating, but you actually can kind of take advantage of, right? Like this thing that I'm doing here where I'm kind of scalping across the range is a lot easier when you're when it's a thick market. a thick market that has a reasonable amount of volatility. When it's a thick market and we're just in a 3-tick range, that's a nightmare. Okay, but when we're getting like a 5-tick range and it's a thick market, that makes for some good scalping. Okay, so now for this one, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like how I got filled there. Fingers crossed, I guess. I don't know. Did not like that. So on that one, I was fairly confident that I would get filled at 27.5 again, but I'm not sure that I'll get 26.5 again. So I'm going to take one contract off there. Curious. There's a little bit of reluctance to sell at 27.5 and 27 now. Recenter that. Wow. So I'm not familiar with this subreddit. r/recruiting hell. And here's a post that is like somebody that had an interview scheduled and they canceled it because they received a job offer and they're going to take that job offer. And then the recruiter came back like, can you at least go to the interview? Because it puts me in a tight spot. Like, I worked really hard to get this interview for you and everything else like that. There's 1.2 thousand comments on it. That's nuts. Yeah. Yeah, I would still go to the interview too if it was scheduled. Okay, on this one, I'm going to wait. I'm going to let the second contract get filled first. So part of the issue here is like, what are the chances of it running from here? And I don't think that it's super high. So that's why I'm kind of trying to reduce my inventory. I don't know if I want to go down to only one contract, but we'll see. Why does this thread have 1.2 thousand views? That's weird. Oh. think I want to join this subreddit. It almost filled that 26.5 too. That's and I do want to take it all off before we end our session. That still gives me 40 minutes. Like my takeaway from today is that the big players really were not involved. Like the market makers moved things and everything because of that headline, but I don't think that big players were shifting positions or any of that today. I really don't see super well. I mean, there was 25, 30K worth of change. So but it was like after that came out, it's just been flat for here. Well, and it has been slight declining cumulative delta through this range. I don't know. I'm not sure I can reconcile those two things. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe there has been, somebody bought up really big and now they're taking the position off. Something like that, right? Sure. We could say that. We could say somebody did buy the treasuries off of the Russia headline and everything, and now they're taking profits on it. But I'm not seeing those kinds of like larger passive orders that let's not call them passive orders, but kind of like funds and that sort of a thing. They've just kind of left it alone today. And I'm kind of wondering, based on that, if the treasury market might be relatively tame now going up into Thanksgiving. Or maybe it's because they are waiting for Nvidia earnings. That could be another one. to see that. That bid at 27.5 is holding pretty firm. Okay, just pulled off in reaction to those 1450 going in. Interesting. I'd also note, like, when you're looking at the market order imbalance here, yeah, never really, well, it was at 0.4 at one point. Well, there's actually some decent selling through here. I think that kind of still fits in with the, like, profit taking on the shorts or something. Like, market makers probably picked up a lot of short inventory up on this, and this is an area where it's kind of like, I can just get off a break even and get into it. Okay. Interesting. Oh, I don't like that at all. What was with that? Do you think that another headline hit there? I think that I'm still gonna call that one a win. I think that it was a lot of work for not a whole lot, right? Well, what did I get on that? I made 4. I made 4 ticks, but out of 10 fills, that's actually really bad. It's really bad, but it's still a winner, so whatever. But so what happened was I was looking to see, okay, maybe they're gonna fill me at 26.5, and like as soon as they started touching that and clearing 27, like huge bids came in and it shot back up 2 ticks. Now I don't know if there was a headline there. There could be a headline there, but I did not like that. So I'm hearing stuff on News Squawk about an EIA report on Iran's nuclear stockpile. You know, I don't think that the possibility of us getting to that 26 is gone, but it's doing things that I didn't like there for what I was trying to do. So I think I'm done for the day. Let's see what they do here. S&P 500 is still looking pretty okay. So earlier I was saying I'm not too concerned about the S&P 500 selling. Oops, wrong button. this button right here. Okay. And that's because the cumulative delta has been pretty positive over there all day. So that's what I'm seeing there. Maybe I should have taken a long over in the E-mini and that would have been a better trade. Oh well. Not the end of the world. Do you think when it kind of comes and it just goes flatline like this, you do have to worry about if it bounces like it can, because you kind of, it's like volatility compression that can kind of bounce out there on you. But lately I've taken a couple of really good reversal trades like that there. I'm not like recommending some sort of price action sort of a thing. Like that's just what the market's been doing lately, and I'm sure that will change. Oh, look, there it is right there. I guess I would have gotten filled. Interesting. Well, that's okay. I'm still okay with having taken off where it was, given what they were doing. Let's see if this turns into a stronger move or not. Am I seeing this? I am seeing the selling. You're seeing the market order imbalance come down into the 40% range. Well, there was an impulse sell in there, but so far not a whole lot happening from it. I think that, maybe what I saw was some shenanigans, and I just was able to avoid a bunch of volatility on there. Would have been good for my position, but I think that if I had held on to that, I should be taking the rest of it off, I'm really curious to see how this market in the 10-year resolves. Yeah, they can't stay here all day, can they? But I'm really not seeing anything. Like, there has been some selling. Don't get me wrong. There has been some selling. It looks like it's equalizing back out now again, though. So it's like you're still seeing traders take shorts and the market makers just eat it all up. There should be a strong breakout by the end of the day, but it's a coin cost as to which way. I don't know. I really want to know why my cost basis companion is not working anymore. Didn't need to attach a debugger to it. I don't think I'm going to be able to find out today either, because I think I'm watching the kids. I mean, they're not going to be awake, but I'm gonna wake them up. Wow, that really came up there now. Can you imagine if I had, like, okay, stayed into that, took a contract off at 26, and then held on to that, or maybe even added here at 27, and then I could be looking at like an outright loss at 29. So there is maybe some shoving around now, but it kind of feels to me like that, like, they're pushing them up and like people aren't necessarily responding. Well, maybe some people got caught on a short there and are puking on this now. That could be a possibility. Like in this kind of action, you got to think, you know, it's mostly traders trading. So that's the sort of stuff that you're going to see is people getting kind of thrown out of positions and stuff. It seems to me that the people trying to impersonate me on Discord have given up. Because my bot does not catch nearly as many of these anymore. Oh, you know, I totally missed this, that when we had the move at like 8:30, that oil moved big time. So that thing that kind of like scared me out was must have been a headline. But was it because of the Iran news? IAEA reports Iran agrees to stop producing near bomb-grade uranium and allow experienced inspectors to verify. Oh, I see. So if that would maybe help make it more possible for, well, let's say less risk premium in oil and maybe more supply from oil in the longer run. And is that why oil is selling so hard off that? So maybe that is what I saw there. And that would be a deflationary force, hence buying the treasuries. That must be what we're seeing there. Your face looks really red today. What's with that? Is it just the lighting? I don't know. NeoVim conference. They have a NeoVim conference? Well, that's interesting. Well, back to 27.5, huh? So it's an interesting setup today. Let's see here. NVIDIA earnings is tomorrow after market, right? Yep, on Wednesday. I didn't catch that the equities are up there. I wonder how much did TLT move? Is it like was it actually a really appreciable amount, or is it just kind of still splitting the difference? It's a little bit short of 1%, so. Dude, it's really crazy how much leverage distorts your view of things, right? Because this move, you were long in the treasuries. That's a pretty decent move, right? But you know, like on TLT, it's not even 1%. So. Actually down pretty big on some of my other positions today for some reason. Goldman down, Berkshire down. Oh, all of the stocks are down, of course. So TLT is just kind of, hey, it's kind of hedging me. It's working the way that it's supposed to work. That's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna take one quick look here because it was also REMF was down. And I don't know if that's just standard sort of a thing or if there's something else going on here. Well, there was kind of this move here. So I'm gonna say that it's within reason. And I kind of wonder. I don't know what would. There must have been some news here. Let's take a peek here. Oh, they received final approval required to commence operations of rare earth demonstration plant in Wyoming. Rare Element Resources is pleased to announce it has received U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission operations approval under the previously issued license. This final approval, which was required for the commencement of operations at the company's rare earth processing and separation demonstration plant, follows the recently announced U.S. Department of Energy's operations budget acceptance and issuance of its continuation notice approving operations. The demonstration plant, which has been designed to advance the company's proprietary processing and separation technology, is expected to generate operational and economic data necessary for the design of a commercial scale plant. So that must be why it popped. I wonder if we get community here, if the conversation over there has changed at all. It's not. There used to be some like shorts that were like really adamant and spamming there a lot, but don't see them anymore. How much do people get paid for promoting a prop firm? So I don't actually know, but I believe that it is somewhere between $15 and $40. So if somebody is able to get 1,000 people to buy a prop firm in a month, which would be a lot, frankly. I mean, that'd be a lot. I'm not even sure that the really big guys with like hundreds of thousands of subscribers can actually get that many people to sign up for those, but like that would be like the upper end of it, right? Yeah, these people could be making between $15,000 and $40,000 a month. Like, it's pretty crazy, right? Gonna put out a video on it. I think it's gonna be on Monday. I bet you that there's gonna prop firms are gonna come and they're gonna be like, let's make a video, let's do this, let's do that. Okay. I think a decent amount happening there at volume coming in at 28 half, but it looks like another liquidity hole. So I probably shouldn't tell you this, but the thing that I think is funny about it is, you know, I want to promote things that are actually good for the audience. So, you know, trading futures, probably not good for the audience, but like, that's why you're here, right? And if you're going to do it, I want you to be able to do it the most effective way possible. And I think that the first number one thing that you want there is to have good software. And then number two would be to have a good news squawk, right? So, you know, I'm promoting products that I really believe in, and I can fully put my whole weight behind, you know, without having to compromise my conscience or anything like that, like I kind of feel like you have to do for these prop firms, right? And the amount that software pays a pop is way more than what you would make promoting prop firms. Okay, like if I had 1,000 people click on my affiliate link for Jigsaw in a month, I'd be made. Like, that would be my income for the year. All right, well, I think I'm gonna go and wake the kids up. Guys, This was an interesting session. It really was. I mean, I don't know. Like, I took a trade. I made 4 ticks off of 10 contracts, which is kind of stupid. But should I regret it or not? I don't know. But it was fun. Well, it happened, right? Okay. Well, I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. Wait, let's change the title here. Let's say activity drops off after overnight Russia risk. No, let's not put it like that. So, flight to safety over Russia headline. Put it like that. Okay, guys. Premature GG. Yeah, real GG. Yeah, good. See you guys tomorrow. Stay.